We have 17 babies. Everyone, I'm sorry, I look like a total mess. I literally just woke up like an hour ago and I've been laying in bed doing lots of homework, but a few people have messaged me asking for our most recent update. I just wanted to film an update for everyone about what's been going on with our embryos and kind of what has come of what's going on in our lives right now. So if you guys watch our vlogs, then or even just if you're following me on Instagram, I've posted a little bit about what's been going on. So I had my egg retrieval surgery on September, I think it was the 8th. It was last Thursday. Today is Saturday, the 17th. And so it was last Thursday, so I think that was the 8th. I retrieved 33 eggs and it went really well. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with OHSS shortly after because my body just shut down basically after my retrieval. I was literally probably in the worst pain of my entire life for 5 days straight. I didn't start to actually feel better until Tuesday. And Monday night even, I was like, I'm never going to get better. Like, that's how bad I was hurting. I was crying every night. And the only way I can describe the pain, like, I can't really describe it. It's really weird. The only way I can describe the pain is that I literally felt like my stomach was going to explode. Like, literally, that's how it felt. And I couldn't sleep because I had to sleep on my back, and I couldn't get comfortable, and I couldn't sleep on my stomach because it hurt so bad because there was so much fluid in my abdominal cavity and in my ovaries from the follicles. And so it was just literally like the worst pain ever. And so I have finally passed through that, and I'm so happy. I'm feeling back to normal now. And I don't know if I could ever go through that pain again. It was so bad. I mean, it's obviously worth it in the long run, but it was so bad. Sorry, my eyes are all itchy from allergies. But so they retrieved 33 eggs, which was the good part about it, which is why I probably got OHSS. You're known to get OHSS with the more eggs you retrieve. So I got 33 eggs. And we thought they were going to have a hard time fertilizing because of Justin's sperm. Like, his was the reason for our pregnancy failures. We thought they weren't like very good, so they wouldn't fertilize very well. So that's why we were like, yes, 33, that gives us a good shot. So they called us Friday morning with the fertilization report the morning after, and they said that out of those 33 eggs, that 27 were mature, and then out of those 27, 23 ended up successfully fertilizing with ICSI. So that was a good amount. We were pretty excited about that. And then our clinic doesn't call again until day 3 because they find it actually disturbs the embryos. So we got a call on Sunday a few days after. And they said out of those 23, 10 were looking really, really good. 6 were looking okay, 6 were looking okay, and 1 was far behind everyone else. So they were all still progressing, but 10 were solid. And I had asked her on the phone, like, out of those 10, she's like, usually the biggest drop in numbers is between day 3 and day 5 because it's such a big jump for the embryos to make. So you'll lose the majority of your embryos probably between day 3 and day 5. But those 10 are good, so you should be fine. And I was like, oh, great, because we wanted about 6 frozen embryos. So they called me on day 5 because, again, they don't call on day 4. They don't want to disturb the embryos. They called me while I was at work, so I got a voicemail after my lunch break, and they were like, we froze 8. And I was like, oh, that's more than we had expected them to be able to freeze. And they said out of those 8, that 7 were the best quality and 1 was good fair, which is still like a good quality embryo. And we were like, okay, what about the rest, just out of curiosity? And they said, well, out of the rest, we're still keeping an eye on some, but we'll let you know tomorrow because the longest they'll let them go at our clinic is to day 6. And so they were like, so we'll call you again tomorrow and see if any of the other ones made it to freeze. And we were like, okay, sweet. So I was excited. I was excited with 8. Like, that was like my perfect number. I was stoked. and they were all good. And so I was like, that's great. So that gives us a perfect chance to try. And then they called the next day, and they were like, well, we have great news. And I was like, oh, really? Yeah, what is it? And they were like, we were able to freeze 9 more embryos. We have 17 babies. I can't get over that. Like, we expected to freeze 6. Like, 17 is so many. And so we don't know what we're going to do yet. We haven't decided what we're going to do. I mean, we can't have 17 kids, but Justin and I morally, we couldn't discard our embryos. We don't believe in that. And so the good thing about cryopreservation is that you can keep them frozen for as long as you want. And so our plan is to, for the time being, keep all of them frozen until we know that we're done having kids. And at that point, we will decide what we are going to do with our remaining embryos. It's just a really hard decision to make, honestly. And before, when we were doing this process, we were going to only fertilize a certain amount of the eggs. But we found out that if we had done that, then if our IVF, if we hadn't gotten any embryos, like if we didn't get pregnant, we wouldn't have gotten our money back for our whole plan, because we signed up for the guaranteed success program. And so that says that if you don't result in a pregnancy and actually have a live birth, then you get all of your money back. So we paid extra for that, and included in that plan was if you ever decided to do a transfer at a later date, instead of it being $4,000 for a transfer, they'll all be free. So you end up saving money. So we did that. But if we had only decided to fertilize maybe out of those 23, like if we'd said we only want to fertilize 10, if it hadn't worked and we had gotten like no frozen embryos or whatever, then they would have not given us our money back, because they would have been like, well, you didn't try, like you only fertilized 10. So that's why we decided to go through with it. And so it was a really hard decision to make, and but we did, and we came to that decision as a couple after some prayer and after some advice from some important people. But we did not expect this crazy outcome of 17 embryos. And so right now, like I said, we're not making any decisions. We have plenty of time. The only thing that stinks is that we have to pay storage fees. And I don't know how much the storage fees are yet. We haven't met with our doctor since our surgery, except for really quickly to go over my OHSS. So we will be still waiting and deciding what we're going to be doing, but that could be a decision made way into the future, which gives us some time to kind of come to that decision on our own. And so in the meantime, we still have our plan for transferring 2 embryos next month at this point, and we are really excited. I'm super anxious. I'm just like, let's do it already, but I have to wait for my cycle to start so I can start progesterone and oil and whatnot. Today is Saturday. On Tuesday, I have a phone call appointment. Instead of going in, they're just going to call me for like 20 minutes to go over my FET. And I am just so ready for it to start. I think we have a tentative transfer date of around October 15th, 10th, 15th, around that time. So that's tentative, and it depends on my body and how I react. But so far, that has all been really easy for me. So I'm really excited to do this, and that is the most update we have for you guys now. Thank you so much for those of you who asked about our update and whatnot. We just didn't want to post that too much on Instagram right in the moment because it was so surprising and overwhelming. So thank you guys. Literally, like, this has been such a journey, this IVF, and it's not over yet, but we're so excited to see where it takes us. So we will see you guys very, very soon.